This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, students. So today's class is about infancy and childhood disorders. As this is a revision class, I will be giving a brief about few important questions. Understood? So coming to first important question is about fetal height drops. So what is meant by fetal height drops? It is nothing but edema of the fetus. So in fetus, during intrauterine growth, there will be fluid accumulation. These edema can be either generalized, localized, or can be accumulated within the cavity itself. So what are the causes of these fetal height drops? It is of two types, mainly because of two types. One is due to immune reason, that is RH or ABO incompatibility. Other causes are non-immune height drops. So coming to immune height drops, it is also known as erythroblastosis fetalis or hemolytic disease of newborn. So hemolytic disease of newborn means the RBC will be lysed, hemolytic. So RBC will be lysed in the newborn. It is also known as erythroblastosis fetalis. So it mainly occurs due to incompatibility of blood group between mother and the developing fetus. We can see this in both RH and ABO types. So what is the reason? The main reason is when mother group is RH negative and father group is RH positive, we'll see this kind of transmission of RH antigens into the mother. So major cause is it is due to D antigen. So in RH factor there is strong D and weak D. So D antigen is the main cause for the incompatibility in immune height drops. Apart from RH, even minute amount of ABO incompatibility can also cause this immune height drops. So for this we have to administrate RH antibodies. So after the delivery of first pregnancy, we have to give RH immunoglobulins containing anti-D antibodies to mother. So when mother's group is RH negative and father group is RH positive, irrespective of this disease, after the first delivery, we have to administer RH immunoglobulin antibodies to the mother. So what are the causes of ABO incompatibility? When anti-A and antibodies which are present, they do not cross the placenta, but fetal RBCs expresses antigens poorly. So cells other than RBCs express antigen, so they absorb some of the transferred antibodies. So main reason of ABO compatibility causing hemolytic diseases, this is very rare because anti-A, anti-B antibodies are do not cross placenta, but fetal RBCs express these antigens poorly. So ABO incompatibility is very rare. Most common is RH incompatibility. So this is the diagram showing the RH incompatibility. So when fetus is RH positive and mother is RH negative, so these red blood cells leak across the placenta. This occurs only in the last trimester and during the delivery. During the process of delivery and in the last trimester only, there will be RBCs leak across the placenta. So due to these RBCs, as they are RH positive, so in maternal body, anti-RH antibodies will be produced. So in next pregnancy, when there is second pregnancy, these already formed anti-RH antibodies will attack the RBCs of child. So this causes hemolytic disease of newborn, also known as immune height drops or erythroblastosis fetalis. So this is the main cause of immune height drops. Then coming to non-immune hydrops, that is not antigen antibody reaction. These are the some of the causes causing non-immune hydrops. Those are like chromosomal anomalies, fetal anemia, and cardiovascular anomalies, any malformations. These are the causes of non-immune hydrops. So fetal hydrops is of either immune hydrops or non-immune hydrops. Immune is due to antigen antibody reactions, either due to RH or ABO incompatibility. So non-immune are due to chromosomal or congenital malformations or anomalies. There will be non-immune hydrops. So what are the morphological features? Mostly the fetus will be either stillborn or die within few days after delivery. So there will be fluid accumulation, that is edema of entire subcutaneous tissue, even organs, cavities, ascites, pleural effusion, pericardial effusion. There will be complete edema of the whole body, fluid accumulation will be seen. In addition to this, there will be associated with congenital anomalies, cardiac anomalies, or hepatosplenomegaly or kernicterus. Kernicterus means jaundice. There will be hemolysis of the RBC of newborn. So we will see that this as jaundice, that is kernicterus. Okay. So these are the causes and morphological features of fetal hydrops. So next, in this chapter, next important question is sudden infant death syndrome. So the name itself explains it, sudden infant death syndrome. It means unexplained death of an infant. So infant means age of first 1 year. First 1 year of life is known as infant. We call them as infants. So unexplained death of 1 year within 1 year of age, usually during the sleep. The cause is unknown. There is unknown cause. That means there will be there will be not any prior disease or any symptoms or nothing else. Just there is unexplained, that is sudden death of infant during sleep. So it is associated with some risk factors pertaining to either baby or mother or environment. All these risk factors are included in a sudden infant death syndrome. So after the death, we can see that this syndrome is associated with either brain defects, that is brain anomalies, or low birth weight, prematurity, or maternal risk factors like smoking, alcohol intake. So these are the associated factors that causes sudden infant death syndrome. So infancy means first 1 year of life is called as infant. So unexplained sudden death of infant, usually during sleep we see, which is of unknown cause. Just there will be multiple risk factors that causes death. So coming to tumors of infancy and childhood. So infancy and childhood. Infancy means 1 year of life. Childhood means up to 14 years of age. First 5 years, like second year to 5 years of life is early childhood, and 5 to 14 years is late childhood. So tumors of infancy and childhood. Childhood means at the age of 14 years. Up to 14 years we call them as child. So up to 1 year infancy. 2 to 5 years is early childhood. 5 to 14 years is late childhood. So tumors of infancy and childhood constitute 2% of all malignant tumors. So the main cause of infancy or childhood tumors is either they attain this during intrauterine life, or mostly they are embryonic tumors. So these two are the tumor-like conditions we see most commonly in child. So that first one is hamartoma. This is tumor-like condition, that is focal accumulation of cells normally present in tissue but are arranged in abnormal manner. That means, for example, hamartoma of lung. Hamartoma of lung means we see multiple tissues like cartilage, muscle, bone, but all these tissues are present within the lung. Normally we see cartilage in bronchus, and other tissues. But when these tissues accumulate and they form a mass like structure, then we call it as hamartoma. Normally we see cartilage in bronchus, not in the lung tissue. When this cartilage is present within the lung tissue, it forms as a mass, that is accumulation of cells normally present in the tissue. Normally we see cartilage in bronchus of lung, but when it is arranged in abnormal manner, when it is present within the lung, normal lung parenchyma, and forming a mass, it is called as hamartoma. Next, coming to corystoma, it is collection of normal cells and tissue at aberrant locations. Means example is heterotopic pancreatic tissue. Heterotopic corystoma is also known as heterotropia, means presence of one tissue in other place. Heterotopic pancreatic tissue, normally pancreas is present at duodenum and stomach, but when it is present in other place like at large intestine or even in chest cavity, we call it as heterotropic pancreas. So corystoma means normal cells and tissue present at aberrant location, other location. It is heterotropia or corystoma. Hamartoma is presence of cells which are normally present in the tissue but in abnormal manner, that is formation of mass or other structures. So it is hamartoma. So these are the tumor like conditions most commonly we see in infancy and childhood. So next, coming to benign tumors. So benign tumors of infancy and childhood are most commonly we encounter hemangioma. So hemangioma is commonly present on skin. And lymphangioma. Lymphangioma means dilatation of lymphatic channels and forming a mass like structures. What is oma? Oma is a solid mass like structures. So hemangioma, lymphangioma and sacrococcygeal teratoma. This is most commonly seen in infancy as congenital malformation. In sacrococcygeal region, we see a teratoma. Teratoma means this is a tumor with presence of all the germ layers. All three germ layers will be present as a mass-like structure. We see hair, tooth, skin, cartilage, bone, anything. So and mesenchymal structures like muscle, fibroblasts, anything. So this is sacrococcygeal teratoma. Teratoma means presence of all three germ layers. So we see it as a congenital malformation mainly in the infants, and majority of these are benign tumors. Next is fibromatosis. It is nothing but accumulation of fibroblasts. Generally it is either solitary, which is benign, or it can be aggressive fibromatosis also. Fibromatosis means increased production of fibroblasts at one place. So that is fibromatosis. These are the benign tumors we encounter during childhood. First one is hemangioma, that is proliferation of blood vessels. Hemangioma means capillaries. Tumors of blood vessel is hemangioma. Tumor of lymphatic channel is lymphangioma. Next, sacrococcygeal teratoma. Last one is fibromatosis. And other tumor-like lesions we see are nevocellular nevi. These are the very rare conditions we encounter in infancy and childhood. Nevi means that is mole. Excess melanin production seen in skin. And next, liver cell adenoma. This is also most common benign tumor of liver. And last one is rare tumor is rhabdomyoma. Rhabdomyoma is the tumor of heart. We see it most commonly cardiac tumor. So these are the rare, benign or tumor like lesion. These are the most common tumors, benign tumors of infancy. So coming to malignant tumors. So according to age groups, it is divided in less than 4 years, 5 to 9 years, and age 10 to 14 years. Normally from age group of 2 to 14 years we call them as child, and up to 4 to 5 years early childhood, and up to 14 years late childhood. So coming to less than 4 years of age, most common hematopoietic malignancy is acute leukemia. We encounter most commonly ALL. ALL we see in younger early childhood age, that is less than 4 years. Next, blastomas. In early childhood we encounter small round blue cell tumor. Those are nothing but blastomas, small round blue cell tumors. All these are the small round blue cell tumors we see in early childhood. Those are called as blastomas, either neuroblastoma, hepatoblastoma, retinoblastoma, or Wilms tumor, or pleuropulmonary blastoma. These are the small round cell tumors we encounter in early childhood age group, most commonly due to these are the embryonal tumors. Next, coming to soft tissues. Soft tissues most common is rhabdomyosarcoma. Sarcoma means malignant tumor. Rhabdo means muscle. Rhabdomyosarcoma is malignant tumor of skeletal muscle. Skeletal muscle tumor is rhabdomyosarcoma. Next, coming to neural tumors and other are teratoma. We already discussed sacrococcygeal teratoma is the most common in early age group. So these are the most common malignant tumors of early childhood. Coming to age group of 5 to 9 years, we encountered, apart from ALL, lymphoma are also common in 5 to 9 years of age group. Lymphoma means it is tumor of lymph node. Okay. Acute leukemia means it is hematopoietic tumor. Okay. Coming to blastomas, in this neuroblastoma and hepatocellular carcinoma are the most common tumors. Coming to soft tissue sarcoma and bone is Ewing sarcoma. In 5 to 9 years age group, Ewing sarcoma is the most common tumor we see in 5 to 9 years age group. And coming to age group of 10 to 14 years, Hodgkin's lymphoma is the most common hematopoietic malignancy, and HCC is the liver malignancy we see. Next, soft tissue sarcoma in soft tissues and osteogenic sarcoma. So osteosarcoma is the bone tumor we encounter in younger age group, that is a late childhood 10 to 14 years we encounter osteogenic sarcoma, osteosarcoma. And rare are the thyroid malignancy we see in younger age group. So these are the malignant tumors we encounter in infancy and childhood. So in infancy and childhood, the important questions are about fetal height drops. Next one is sudden infant death syndrome and just names of tumors in infancy and childhood, either benign tumors or malignant tumors. So these are the important questions in infancy and childhood disorders. Okay, that's it. Today's class is about infancy and childhood.